So again, the question is, who sits on the throne and who has the majority in your house? Is the child ruling the roost, or is your spirit, is the parent taking its authority and position? As parents, we've been told, as godly parents, we are meant to train our child up in the way it should go. And when they are old, they will not, or preferably not, depart from it. Same way, we've been given this authority and position to walk in the reconciliation, reconciling your soul and your body back to Christ. You have the ministry of reconciliation, and your first disciple must be your soul and your body. Okay? And eventually you can train the body to do what is right. This comes after a renewal of the soul, and the soul has to be renewed. We have to present our body, which is like, it's a choice. It's a choice. No one's going to force you to do this, to present my body. Any work you do on yourself is not working on your spirit, but on your soul. This is really important that I just want to point out. Your spirit is not sick. Your spirit is not confused. Your spirit is not lacking anything. Any work that you do on yourself is to do with your soul. Your body will always follow suit, like I said, whatever it's fed. Your body reflects what's going on in your soul. Forget these kind of mindsets of it. And I think I can say this to you now, because those of you who've been studying this week and the coming week know already that your spirit is one with Christ, and where Christ is, sin can't even be there. It can't be there. If it was possible for there to still be evil in your spirit, you can't go to be with Jesus. You can't, because God can't have sin in heaven. If you died today, okay, and there was sin in your spirit, you know, you can't go to be with the Lord, because he's holy. He is holy. So I just want to reiterate that the only problem is in the mind. Because when I'm sick, what hurts? If I'm physically sick, is it my imagination that's hurt? No. Is it emotions? Maybe a little bit. But what is really sick? If it's a physical body issue, it's my body that's sick. Your body can be sick, your body can hurt, but your body is not you. This is very good news for those of us who have sickness in the body. This can be really good news if you can catch this, okay? Your body belongs to you. You have authority to speak to your body from your spirit. You have the authority to present your body as a living sacrifice, whole, clean, without blemish. You can speak to your body and ask it and say for it to line up. You can say to your soul, but this is where it gets tricky. If your soul is not in the right place and renewed, it can actually keep the spirit in like some kind of locked box, because you need your mind to tell your body what to do. Yeah, if someone's lost their mind and they are mentally unstable or in a coma, they can't tell their body what to do, okay? Your mind can't tell, you can't say, in my mind, I tell you to get up and walk. Like, you can't do that. Yeah. If your soul is not renewed, if you look at this diagram and it kind of looks like gates and things flowing through this, out of this spirit here, these gaps. If your soul is stubborn, I mean, if you have one of those wills, right? that is really, really stubborn. The spirit can't, it's like a blockage. It's very hard to get through. If in your mind, you've made up your mind that this, what God is saying in his word is not true, and my spirit has got a problem, it can block off, hope. If you believe my body is sick, that's it. There's nothing I can do about it. Or, I've got a food addiction. That's it. There's nothing I can do about it. Doesn't matter how much hope you have in your spirit. It's going to take a massive supernatural power of God to break that down. That's the only way I could possibly say. Okay. So, but something happens when you start speaking to your soul. Something shifts when you recognize I am a spirit, one with God. I can speak to my soul and say, soul, why are you downcast? Soul, why are you turning to food to make yourself feel better? We don't live on bread alone. We live by every word that comes from God. Okay, it helps your mind to realize that they are not in control. The soul is confused. The soul thinks it's the parent. When you have children that think they're the parent? I have one of them. They think they're the parent. And I've tested them on this. I said, okay, if you want to be a parent, you can be a parent for the day. I'm going to do nothing. I've done this. They last about 10 minutes. I say, you can be the parent, you homeschool, you pay the bills, you do all the cleaning and the cooking. And at first, my middle son, who has a strong will, is like, yeah, I can do this. And my eldest son's like, no, I can't do it, Mommy, don't do it, right? Okay. So we have to work a little bit harder with our child that has the strong will, not to break it, but to redirect his will to God's and authority. Okay, so but it's powerful when you start speaking the truth to your soul, when you start to become just like Christ, that when Christ spoke to the mountain or spoke to the fig tree or spoke to the water and turned it into, I know you may be saying, Sophia, but that was Jesus. Yeah, it was. I'm playing with you a little bit there. It was Jesus. Are you trying to say I'm Jesus? No, you're not Jesus. But you have everything that's in him is in you, in your spirit. Okay, so you have the power. Life, the Bible says it, power is in the tongue. Life or death, you choose. It is a choice. But we have to speak from our spirit. Okay, so all things are from God. Let's not get it confused. Everything is from God. But you have a ministry of reconciliation. Reconcile your soul back to God. That's a form of deliverance. That's a form of healing. You can, when you reconcile your soul back to God, your soul is delivered and starts to be living from being set free. And this is one thing, there's a lot of information here, and it's not about getting as much information as possible. It's about taking what you know and what you have right now and what you're aware of and working it out, so it doesn't just become knowledge. You can come out of this and just say, that was really good knowledge. Wow, that was really good. But if you appropriate this, we can live it quickly. This is something God showed me this week when coaching somebody. We were talking about, so how do I get this to work? God showed me, as I was talking to someone, a balance of scales. Depending on which side is more, what would you say, heavier, is kind of where you'll go down. So if you allow your mind to constantly, let's say I'm struggling, which a lot of us are struggling with, food habits, and I recognize it's a problem, and I constantly keep saying, oh my goodness, this is so hard, I'll never be free from this. Is that true? Will I never? Who's talking? Because if I'm a spirit, I am already free. Past tense, remember? Everything's past tense. But if I keep on saying, I've got a problem, it's what some called having a sin conscious. I am constantly thinking on everything I'm not doing right. I ate the ice cream. I shouldn't have ate the ice cream. I had too much. I shouldn't have had to. I'm not saying that these are not good things to be aware of. But the problem is when it starts to outweigh the traffic going on in your mind. If all you're thinking on is the problem, oh, this is a problem, that's a problem, this is a problem. So as a man thinks in his heart, so is he, says the Bible. So actually what I've found is the more I focus on the problem is actually sometimes the more I get deeper in the problem. If you're focusing on lack and what if and why not, it's not fair, I can't do it. This is what takes the weight and takes up the capacity in your mind. But if you're focusing on things higher, if you're focusing, someone says, so what should I think on? That's what someone said to me. So what should I be thinking on then, Sophia? What should I be? Because this is all consuming. Focus on things above. The Bible says those who set their minds on the Spirit will do what? Walk in the Spirit. We focus on who we are, not what we think we don't have. We focus on who we are and we focus on whose we are, who we belong to, and who we are in our rightful position. Again, we seek things above. Colossians 3:1. If ye then be risen with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ sitteth on the right hand of God. Where's Christ? He's in heaven. He's high above all these problems. It's like what I showed you in the very beginning, in the introduction. If your mind, if you are seeing all the problems right now, it means you are too focused on the earthly, natural realm. You need to get higher, because the higher you get, the situation is smaller. If you've come here today, or if you've come here this week and you're like, this is too much, I can't cope, I can't do this, you're looking at it too close to the ground. Okay? And again, Ephesians 2:1-6, and you have he quickened who were dead in trespasses and sins, where in time past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, that's the enemy. But the spirit that works in those children who do all those things is the spirit of disobedience, among whom also we all had our conversations. See that? All our conversations in times past, and this is referring to the past, in the lusts of our flesh. Our conversations were about fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath, even as others. That's people who are not saved. But God, who is rich in mercy, for his great love wherewith he loved us, even when we were dead in sins, even when we were doing all of that, he quickened us together with Christ. Even when our minds was full on, we couldn't think of nothing but sin. Okay, even in that, look at how rich his mercy was. Look at it. But he raised us up with him, and now we have been made to sit in heavenly places in Christ Jesus. You will only recognize that you are seated in heavenly places if you recognize you are a spirit. You can only recognize you are seated in heavenly places if you identify yourself with being a spirit that has a soul and lives in a body. If you think you are your body, the body is the world conscious. If you say, well, I'm just who I am, how I feel, then you are self-conscious. But if you recognize you're a spirit, you will be God conscious. You will think on things that God thinks on. You will see situations the way God sees them. You will make decisions based off how God says and how your spirit says you should look at a situation. Okay? And I can give you an example for myself of something new that's happened to me. New. This is an example of where I can see something's changing in myself. I was doing a Leslie Sonone workout, you know, the walking program. And I had done really well. I take measurements. I don't weigh myself anymore. So I took measurements. I was like, oh, I've lost some more inches. This is awesome. And then my soul decided to think, I wonder how many calories I'm burning every day doing Leslie Sonone's workout. This is what my mind started to do. I wonder how many miles it takes, how many steps it takes to lose 2 pounds. Hold on. God told me not to weigh myself. And I'm not weighing myself, but my mind is thinking on these things, right? And this has happened so many times before. I picked up my tablet. I started Googling, how many calories do you burn per 10,000 steps? And it told me this, some website told me this calculation about if you work this so many steps, and you do this every day, and you walk about 15,000 steps this a day, you will lose about 2-3 pounds. Oh. And you know what happened to me for the first time ever? I felt, ready for it, a slight bit of anxiety. Anxiety is the devil, right? It's wrong, wrong, wrong. Not in this case. And this is what I was teaching someone today. It wasn't anxiety that led me to like, oh my goodness, my life is over. It was like, I realize now it was the Spirit of God telling me, stop. In fact, I heard a voice say, stop. Did I stop? My soul started questioning, see? My soul and my mind's like going, well, you know, is it really God? Why would it? It's not like I'm weighing myself. It's like, this is just information. This is good, right? I want to know. I want to keep going. But I know the Lord is saying, you don't want to make your decision. You don't want to make your decisions and your motivation to be how many steps you've done and what Leslie Sonone says you're going to burn. You need to let your hope be in me. Okay, so I still kept slowly now checking, and it was enough. The pressure was enough. I had to stop. And as soon as I closed my tablet, the feelings had gone. And that's an example of the Spirit working through my soul. We had a bit of a conversation there. That's okay. We had a bit of a conversation, but it even went through to my body because my body started to feel tense. This isn't right. We're not meant to do this. My body was like, I know. Yeah, my body was saying, yes, Spirit, we're not meant to do this. No. And as soon as I turned it off, I was fine. That's a good type of, I want to be careful of saying this. This is a good type of slight fear. It's called the fear of God because I was scared. Yeah, that's never happened to me before. That would have sent me on a trek of, let me find another diet plan. Let me find another program. Right, I've got to make sure that I wear my pedometer, never take it off. I've got to walk 15. Now I'm creating a law unto myself. And remember it says, whatever you yield yourself under, you will become its slave. Remember we looked at that verse? If I yielded myself unto that, I then would have become a slave. That's for me. I've experienced I will become a slave of yet another diet plan, or a slave of the scales, or a slave of the inches or the centimeters or whatever I'm losing. So I had to stop. Yeah. And this is an example of where you can be guided by your spirit, that it goes through your soul. It's having this conversation, the choices, the imagination, the mind, all these parts. And then it finally comes through to the body that's like, no, we're not going to do this. And my hands, which is my physical body, close down the program. So that's an example. We can experience that in every area of our life,